Well, time is 3 p.m. on a very interesting Tuesday. Now, as I talk about interesting Tuesday, you will seek from what is coming your way in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And interestingly, you will reflect back to the stories from the past. And if you belong to a lower middle class family, you connect this way more than you can imagine. Because what we are talking about is between the battle of the lower middle class family to seek help and how you understand the different situations when it comes to you accordingly. And if you've joined in at the right time because we are just getting started. TransUnion CIBIL presents to you a very interesting conversation subject, the National Consumer, that is you, education program on the CIBIL score and report awareness. Let me just redefine that line again. CIBIL score and report awareness. Now, I don't know how often does it click into you, but sometimes it has been a new word to you if you were learning about it when you went out to seek loan from a bank and the bank tells you, you know what, your CIBIL score is low, and you're like, hold on, who's that? So there's a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of understanding about it, but it is good to know about it. Then you actually frame your mind better, you understand things, and you plan the future accordingly. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about is financial literacy for furthering the financial inclusion. It's the finance to finance. It's always been a story. Now, these days, or rather, I must say, about a decade and a half, the credit score plays a very interesting, come a very important role in assessing the credit worthiness of the borrower by the for timely disbursement of loans by the financial institutions. Now, they are the ones who take charge whether you will get it or you may get it or you will not get it, right? In the absence of a good credit score, there is a huge probability of a bank, a financial institution turning down the loan. Yeah, does it strike a little bit of past for you that you went to seek something and you're like, you've been declined or denied because your CIBIL score is not matching up to for various reasons. Sometimes you're known to it, sometimes you're unknown to it. There are stories of unknown as well. Now, what does it take to maintain a good credit score consistently, and what processes should a borrower or rather a customer has to adapt in order to keep it up and above? Now, the session will drive a consumer awareness on credit. That's the first important thing. Importance of the CIBIL score and the report for availing easy, faster, and affordable access to financial opportunities, thereby bringing more and more people into the formal financial fold. So the bank says we give you a loan in 10 minutes or 2 days or half an hour. It doesn't really depend on the bank, but depends on your CIBIL score. Always remember that a bank is not paying you a single penny unless your CIBIL score is good. So joining us to headline this entire subject, we have someone who's mastered it, who knows about it, who seek information and gives a guidance to so many consumers across the globe to understand and be responsible enough to see further and see the future. Joining us is Senior Vice President and the head of the Direct to Consumer, the DTC Interactive Division at the TransUnion CIBIL, is Sujata Ahlawat. Well, she's a seasoned credit bureau professional who is passionate about bringing the power of information and technology into the hands of the Indian consumers, leading to a smarter decision making for achieving their financial goals. I did tell you she's mastered it. She helps you guide further and score much better and see the future well planned. Her core expertise is in the financial services and fintech sector, spanning for about 1.5 decade, that's about 15 years, and has helped her define the vision and a profitable growth strategy for the DTC division. Her current role comprises handling the P&L, forging strong partnership, building consumer-centric products, and service excellence. She's also responsible for driving credit evaluation and awareness and education as a part of the financial inclusion initiatives at the TransUnion CIBIL. So without further ado, let's get straight into this and see where you stand and also understand where you want to stand by end of the session. Please welcome Sujata with us right now.
Thank you, Mithun. Good afternoon, everyone. What a wonderful session that we have today. I'm Sujata Lawat, and I head the direct-to-consumer business at TransUnion CIBIL. At TransUnion CIBIL, we truly believe in consumer empowerment and have a customer-first approach. And our overarching mission continues to be to empower consumers, educate consumers with resources, tools, and education to help them better manage their finances and protect their identity. We come to work every day to help consumers understand, improve, and protect access to their credit. Understand more about understand more about CIBIL score, understand more about credit facilities available, so that throughout their lives, whether it's during the pivotal moments like securing a new job, opening a new credit, buying a new home, the consumer is able to take charge and get access to all the good things in life. Okay, this is so when we look at credit empowerment begins with credit awareness. And over the next 40 minutes, I will try and uncover some of the important factors that go inside a loan when you apply for a new product, when you apply for a new card, and try and cover all the aspects of CIBIL score, a credit report. Mithun did speak about how it's important for you to get access to credit. But when we start looking at the CIBIL score and a report, it's much more than that. It's not just getting access, but getting access at a better rate, getting access faster. And as we start looking at the importance of this product in all facets of your life, whether it's your first job, car, home, education, it goes a long way. So I think over the next 40 minutes, I'll try and cover and make you understand a little more about what goes inside a credit report. How can you actually build a positive profile with TransUnion CIBIL? Try and bust some myths, because historically, and a lot of people are unaware of what this proposition is all about. And then probably go into trying to help you understand how you can actually improve your credit profile. So let's get started. Good credit is power. I think when we look at all the good things that are there, I think the entire credit life cycle, there's a lot of power that has come into the hands of a consumer. Getting access to a good life, getting access to the essentials has become very, very easy with the availability of credit overall. Credit is your financial power. So before we really get into a CIBIL score and report, let's understand the entire role of credit in your life, whether it is fulfilling your dreams, aspirations, ambition, lifestyle, whether it's your first home to your first credit card, paying for your child's education. Access to credit today has opened doors of opportunities for everyone. Whether I would say it is whether it's somebody who's just starting a new job, or somebody who is late in 30s, 40s, who's trying to set up a new house, it actually opens doors of opportunities for everyone. At the same time, when you look from a perspective of an emergency, it is very, very helpful. If there are any unforeseen expenses that may arise, being able to borrow and being able to borrow at a faster and cheaper rate is a lifesaver. So when we look from a perspective of it's not just the emergencies, but if you really want to move ahead in life, credit actually helps you do that. Now let's look at how this entire cycle of credit works. It's not just about taking a credit and applying for a credit card or applying for a loan the first time. But when you look from the entire life cycle, when you apply for a loan or a credit card the first time around, banks check your credit profile. There might also be instances, and we'll talk about it later in the presentation, where you need to have credit to get a credit score, right? We'll talk about it, how you can actually build your credit profile as well. But when you apply for a loan, banks will check your banks and financial institutions will check your repayment behavior and your credit profile, which is reflected in your CIBIL report. Once you've taken a loan, your repayment behavior is tracked on a regular basis, whether you're paying on time or are you delaying payments, are you over leveraging yourself. So that will continue. Banks will continue reporting this behavior to CIBIL, basis which your entire credit history would be formed, and basis which we generate a CIBIL score. Timely repayments actually help you improve your CIBIL score. They help you build a higher CIBIL score. When you again apply for another credit product in future, your CIBIL score and report is checked again, and a good profile or a good credit report, a high CIBIL score will actually get you access to credit much faster in future, and also at better interest rates. Hence, it's very, very important to take control of your credit profile. It's not just a set it and forget it approach. It's not just checking it once is enough. You need to take charge of it. You need to make sure you're on top of your credit, monitoring it regularly to ensure the profile is always good. I'll take a minute to talk about CIBIL and what do we do. CIBIL is the first and the oldest credit information company in the country. We collect information from from different financial institutions. We have over 5,000 financial institutions who are impaneled with us. These institutions submit information about the borrowing and the repayment behavior of consumers on a regular basis, whether it is individuals or commercial entities. All information pertaining to loans or credit cards. So if you've ever taken a loan from any financial institution, that gets reported to CIBIL. Your performance on that loan gets reported on a regular basis to CIBIL. These records are submitted to us on a regular basis. Some institutions submit it weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Based on this information that is submitted to us, we create an individual credit report so I would have an entire credit report, which is mine, CIBIL report, which will have all the information pertaining to me over a period of time. And basis the data which is reported in the credit report, basis my performance, whether I'm paying back on time or not, a CIBIL score is generated. This information is then used by banks, financial institutions to again sanction another credit product to you. So I think when we look from a perspective of while we continue to empower consumers to make them aware of their information, a CIBIL report score and an MSME rank, CIBIL rank for MSME business, enables lenders to evaluate the loan worthiness and repayment capability so that they can take informed lending decisions based on their own eligibility criteria. When we look from a perspective of, I just mentioned a CIBIL score and report, it's not just at the time when you need to take a loan. I think whatever life stage that you are in, CIBIL score and report plays a very, very key role in helping you plan for a better future. It empowers you. It puts a lot of, it carries a lot of weight in different facets of your life. I think it's very important for you to take charge and use that to your advantage as you move ahead in life. So let's just start with understanding what a credit report is and what a CIBIL score is. Like I mentioned, your credit institution, your credit information report, or a CIR that we call, contains your borrowing history. since inception. So since the time you would have started, it contains the complete history of your borrowing performance. This is reported to CIBIL on a regular basis. Consider this as your past performance. It is a consolidated report carrying information around your summary, credit summary, what kind of loans do you hold, what banks do you hold it with, how old is the information, personal information. So every time you've applied for a credit product, you would have given your KYC details. Those get reported to the bureau as well. Your contact information. So whether it is your first loan that you've taken, your first credit card that you've taken, or the latest information which is available, all that is a part of your CIBIL report. And above all of this, like I said, while you have the loan account information, how are you paying on a regular basis, on a monthly basis? That gets reported in the CIR as well. So you've taken a credit card. Are you paying it back regularly? Are you paying all the installments due regularly? That gets reported as a part of your CIR as well. Now let's look at a CIBIL score. CIBIL score is a summary of your entire credit information report. So if I had to, kind of talk about it, consider this as a rank of the entire detailed report which is there. It's a three-digit numeric number, numeric number which ranges from 300 to 900. This is a reflection of an individual's creditworthiness and actually summarizes your entire credit history. Higher the score, the better it is. This is based on the past behavior such as borrowing capabilities, repayment habits as shared by banks and financial institutions to CIBIL on a regular basis. If I had to really summarize this, consider this as a CIBIL score as a score which uses the past performance of an individual to predict the future performance. So it's very important to ensure that your CIBIL score is high and making sure that you have the right kind of performance in your credit information report, which will eventually ensure that CIBIL score is high. It's important to note that lenders, while underwriting, consider both CIBIL score and report to assess a person's loan eligibility. Now let's get into details. I'll kind of now give a little more information about a CIBIL score. Like I mentioned, CIBIL score is all about having a good credit performance, making sure that you are maintaining a positive credit profile. It is a three-digit numeric number, 300 to 900, where 900 is the highest, 300 is the lowest. How is it calculated? Like I mentioned, it is calculated on basis of last 36 months of consumers' credit behavior. So if you look at a credit report, it has an account detail. It also has details around how is the individual paying back their loan or the outstanding on a month-on-month basis. So basis that entire information, a CIBIL score is generated using the proprietary algorithms. It's available for all consumers who have a loan or a product or a credit card. It is a reflection of your credit worthiness and an indicator of how you're going to pay back in future. A high CIBIL score means easy access to credit products. It means faster access to credit products. It means cheaper access to credit products. So it's very, very important to keep a track of your CIBIL score. Now let's look at how is a CIBIL score calculated. Like I mentioned, it's based on how are you performing against all the credit products that you have taken. So key factors that impact a CIBIL score are payment history. So basically what that means is, are you paying your dues on time? So if your installment is due on a particular date, are you paying it on a regular basis? So if you're paying it on a regular basis, it gets reported as standard within the credit report. So this is the most important factor while calculating a CIBIL score. Credit utilization, which basically is nothing but the money you owe. Consider this as a percentage of what is the total available credit that is available to you and how much are you utilizing. So for example, if your available credit was 100 rupees and you've been utilizing 30 on a regular basis, your credit utilization percentage becomes 30%. it is recommended to keep your credit utilization ratio within the range of 30% of the entire limit that is available to you. This rule can actually help you build a positive credit profile. The higher utilization you have, it is considered as you are over leveraging yourself. Credit mix is another very important factor. So what this means is the kind of credit products that you have. So having the right mix of secured loans, which are loans like home loan, auto loan, and unsecured, which is personal loans, credit cards, etc. Having the right mix of the loan type becomes very, very important because unsecured are considered slightly more riskier. So having the right kind of credit mix becomes very important. Obviously, you should not over leverage yourself. New credit inquiries also play a very, very important role. So as you start looking at the way lenders look at credit inquiries, is if you have too many credit inquiries within a short frame of time, it might be considered as you are hungry for credit. So it's very, very important as you start looking at availing new credit. If you're planning to avail new credit, make sure you are checking your entire credit profile. Apply for new credit diligently. Apart from that, there are certain other factors that impact a CIBIL score. Depth of credit, again, the older your credit history is. So, if you've been performing for a longer period of time, obviously you have shown that you're more diligent, you are paying back your installments on time, etc. That actually matters in creating a good credit profile. Long-term trend of outstanding balances. So if you are carrying your balances very, very frequently, you're not paying back your full due in credit cards, that also matters. Transaction history, like I mentioned, actual repayment that you're doing to total amount. So if you're only paying back your minimum amount due, that might impact your credit score as well. And of course, when you look from perspective of the new accounts that you're opening, if you're opening too many new accounts, obviously your utilization will go up. You'll look, lenders might consider you as slightly more credit hungry. So these are the factors that impact a CIBIL score. Understanding what really goes inside a CIBIL score actually will help you maintain a very, very positive profile, will help you continue build and increase your score over a period of time. Now let's get into a CIBIL report, or what all is included in report, because these are one of, at times when consumers do see CIBIL report, it is an aha moment for them as well when they see, oh my God, a CIBIL report has so much information about me. It does. And I think it is important for you to track it regularly, to take charge of it, to ensure that you know what goes inside it, whether it's right, whether the information is right, how do you continue. Monitoring it frequently becomes very, very important. So let's look at the different sections of a CIBIL report. So a CIBIL report is primarily divided into 5 sections. The first one, like I said, is the CIBIL score and credit summary. CIBIL report always comes with a CIBIL score because, like I said, it's a summary of your entire report. A credit summary basically talks about an overview of your entire report, the number of loans that you have, how are you performing, etc. Personal information. So as whenever you apply for a loan or any credit product with a financial institution, you do give your personal details like name, date of birth, different kind of identifiers. These are all a part of your CIBIL report. Contact details. So like I said, when you apply for a credit product, these contact details are also available in a credit report. So you might, at times you might see that some of the information that is available in a report might be really, really dated. But like I said, dated in terms of it starts from the first time you've taken a credit product. So your entire history is a part of a CIBIL report. Account details. So when you start, and we'll go deeper into each of these sections, and account details are the different products that you've taken, how you're performing on those. And inquiry, like I mentioned, if you apply for a credit product any point in time, inquiry gets generated. So only when you make an application, that's a hard inquiry that is there, it gets generated and added to your credit report. Please do note that as an individual, when I monitor my credit profile or when I check my own credit profile, it does not get added as a part of the credit report and has no impact on the score. And we'll talk about those factors as well that impact some myths that people do consider. We'll talk about that in subsequent slides. Quick summary, how does your CIBIL report look? Like I said, you have your score, you have personal information, which is actually name, date of birth, gender, identification types. So whichever identification numbers that you've given to a bank while applying for a loan, they get reported. Contact information, the oldest contact information is also available in a credit report. So if you have more than 4 contact addresses, the last 4 addresses are shown to you as a part of your credit report. Employment information, as whenever those fields are reported. So if you've applied for a credit product and you've given your employment details, those get reported on the credit report as well. Account information, I think it's very, and this is the most important section of that entire report. So you have the account name, which is the bank name to which that account belongs. Account type, what is the kind of loan type, whether it is personal loan, credit card, or any of the other loans, that gets reported. Account number, and the ownership type. What ownership means is individual is when the account belongs to you. It could also be a joint account. So, if you are a joint account holder and not the primary person owning that credit product, that still gets reported to the bureau. Apart from that, you have different details around credit limit, what is the sanctioned amount, balance, amounts overdue. This gets reported and refreshed on a monthly basis to CIBIL, and we keep refreshing this report. So every month, as new information starts getting reported to us, we keep updating the CIBIL report. Like I said, inquiry information is the most important section here as well. So every time you make a loan inquiry, a credit card inquiry, that gets reported and added to the credit report as well. So account information, inquiry information, how are you paying back? Account information also has a section which shows month-on-month performance. So for example, if you've been paying regularly, it will be reported as standard or 0 DPD because you're not days past due. If you were to miss one payment, it might get 1 month's installment, it'll get reported as a 30 DPD, which means you've delayed the payment by 30 days. And so on and so forth. So any delay in payment actually impacts your CIBIL score. One very important thing to know is, and I think this is one of the biggest myths that we've seen, your CIBIL report has all the credit information which is there. Your CIBIL report does not contain information on your savings account. So if you have banking details, your saving account balances, current account balances, they do not get reported to CIBIL. However, if you have an overdraft account for businesses, especially because overdraft account basically is a credit facility, they get reported. Transaction details on your card. So while the bank will report your total credit card outstanding, how much are you paying back? Are you paying minimum balances? All that gets reported, but the transaction level fields in a credit card do not get reported. Investments, so mutual funds, stocks, any kind of investment that you're making does not form a part of CIBIL report. And of course, the utility payments, your telephone, electricity, gas bills, etc., do not form a part of the CIBIL report. So it's very important to understand that what exactly goes inside a CIBIL report. Now, as we look at while CIBIL report has a lot of information, but as banks and lenders start underwriting, it's important to understand what do lenders actually look at when they're sanctioning a loan to you. I think it's very important to understand these factors because it's easy for you to then take charge of your entire credit profile. Credit mix, like I said, having the right kind of secured and unsecured loans. If you have too many unsecured loans, they might be slightly wary to see, it might be considered as a slightly risky profile. New inquiries, if you are inquiring for too many loans on a frequent basis or too many products on a frequent basis, it might be considered that you are either credit hungry or you're not getting the right kind of credit. Some other institutions are declining it. New cards and loan accounts open. So if you have too many new accounts opened, that might be I wouldn't say a question mark, but that lenders might be slightly cautious there because you've really not performed on those. You've not shown performance on those accounts in terms of paying back regularly and whether can you afford all the outstanding that comes with it. Days past due, I gave you an example of 0 is good. That means you've been paying on a monthly basis, regular basis. 30 DPD means you're slightly delayed, you're 1 month delayed. So obviously days past due is the most important factor of your repayment history. And it talks about your credit worthiness. Settled or written off flags. So a credit report also has a section on settled or written off. So let me give you an example of what a settled flag means. And this is one of the points that a lot of consumers think that if they have settled the account means that they have closed the account, which is not the case. There's a difference between settling and closing. So for example, let's consider a scenario where you had 100 rupees due on your credit card, which there was some bit of, I would say, disagreement with the financial institution. And, you kind of agreed saying that, okay, financial institution came back and said that, why don't you pay me 30 rupees and I'll settle the account. So settled is a negative tab. What that means is you've not paid the entire amount that was due to you. So it's very important that when you are talking to lenders, whenever you're trying to close any kind of outstanding that you see in your CIBIL report, you need to ensure that you're paying the full amount back. Written off basically means the banks have tried, you have defaulted, they've not been able to collect the entire money. So it's very important that you make sure that whatever is due to a financial institution, you are discussing with them, coming to an agreement and ensuring that the loan or account is closed, not settled or written off. Like I said, a healthy credit profile not only improves your chances of getting a loan, but obviously makes, gives that power in your hand to negotiate for a better interest rate. So a lot of institutions today are giving discounts for consumers, especially on home loans with higher CIBIL score. So let's, when we look from a perspective of how a higher CIBIL score actually empowers you, it definitely showcases a positive credit behavior. So anybody with a higher score and a report is very, very diligent. It expedites the lender's underwriting approval process, to deliver faster access. So a lot of you would have, gone to any of these consumer durable companies or durable stores. And, there've been instances when you walk in to the store and within minutes walk out with a new expensive mobile phone on credit. How does that happen? At the back end, they check your CIBIL score and report. And in fact, that is the power that you get. If you have a high CIBIL score and report, it's a seamless journey. So, I think imagine a time when you're walking out in minutes with the most expensive consumer durable product. That is the power of having a high CIBIL score and report. It encourages, when you look from perspective of consumers, it provides lenders a very, very objective view of your credit profile. So they're able to sanction the right kind of products to you. And above all, as we start looking from a perspective of beyond just lending, whether it is in partnerships, whenever you're applying for a new job, it is a reflection of your worthiness. How diligent are you as an individual? So clearly having a high CIBIL score and a healthy CIBIL score goes a long way across your entire life cycle. It's not just the first loan that you take, but also the partnerships that you build in future. Now let's talk about, we've spoken about what a CIBIL score is, what a CIBIL report is, what goes inside that. Let's look at some of the key things and, let me recommend a couple of things that will actually help you build a positive credit profile. I think the most important thing as we start looking at, that goes behind a CIBIL score or a CIBIL report is paying your loans on time every time that is due. So don't over leverage yourself. If you have certain installments, if you have certain credit cards which are due on time, make sure you're paying back on time every time, because even a small delay will impact your CIBIL score and it takes time for it to come back on track. Don't be very credit hungry, only apply for credit when you need it. Also, I think when you look from a credit perspective, credit empowers you as long as you are not over leveraged, right? You need to make sure you're taking credit, because end of the day, it will, when you pay back, it goes from your savings, right? You have to pay back, you have to pay regularly. Even if you delay a single payment, it will impact. Have a right mix of secured and unsecured products. I think that's an important factor as well. So just don't apply for too many credit cards, only personal loans. Have the right kind of balance. Take a auto loan, a consumer durable loan. So have a right mix. And the most important thing, as you would have seen the kind of information that goes behind, goes into a CIBIL report. It's very, very important to monitor the accounts where you have guaranteed, co-signed joint accounts frequently, because a lot of times what happens is, if there is a default by the primary person who holds an account, and if you are if you've guaranteed that account, it will impact your CIBIL score. So it's very important. Be cautious about who you are guaranteeing for, where you're co-signing, and ensure that you monitor it regularly. This field, like I mentioned earlier, is a part of your CIBIL report. So you will be able to see where all have you guaranteed or have opened a joint account. Again, good credit is power, and the power is in your hands. I think having the right kind of financial discipline is important to continue enjoying this power that credit provides you. Now let's look at a scenario. There could be instances where you would have missed a payment. It might not be just because you wanted to, but there could be scenarios. So I think it's important to understand that it is easy to bounce back from a bad credit profile. There could be instances whereby there could be some scenarios where you've missed your payment, score has come down. I think it's important to understand that you can improve your score. Score is it's a factor of how you're paying back, how you're performing on a regular basis. So even if you have a low score, don't get disheartened. Diligence and making sure that you are doing the right things in future will help you bounce back. Some of the things that you really need to consider is making sure you pay all your outstanding amounts. So one of the things that you could look to do is, if you have multiple loans, multiple cards, consolidate all the loans. Take a single loan, which could be of a lower installment, pay it all back. Start with that first piece, making sure that outstanding amounts are taken care of. Secondly, make sure that, like I mentioned, if there are settled flags, if there are written off flags, you reach out to your bank, ask for help in terms of how do you make sure that you're not over leveraging yourself. Speak to your banking partners. I'm sure they will be able to come up with an option for you to consolidate all the debt that you have. Once you've done that, make sure you pay timely EMIs. Like I said, score takes time to build. A couple of misses might reduce it, but diligence in future will help you build it. So once you've taken this the consolidated loan, keep paying back on time, keep paying back EMIs. Apply for additional credit, be judicious about it. Like I said, your score is low. If you apply for too many inquiries, as an example, your score will continue to get impacted, right? Unless it's back on track, there's no point applying for too many inquiries. At the same time, keep your credit utilization in check as far as possible. Try to live on your savings, not spend too much, maintain a regular credit utilization. Don't try and keep it under 30% for a period of time, to ensure that you are able to show the right kind of behavior. As you start looking at mixing, like I said, having the right kind of products. So if your score has gone down and you want to show performance, you might not get an unsecured loan, but a loan like a loan with a collateral, which are called secured loans. You might be able to take that. Take a secured loan, show a good credit behavior on that, and continue to build on that credit behavior. It's important, like I said, score takes time to build. So over the next 6 to 9 months, you will be able to bounce back, but don't get disheartened. if you have a bad credit profile, you can come back. Like I said, it's a credit cycle, right? Historically, if it's gone down, you can show that you have bounced back. Make sure your credit score comes above 730 and you're ready to take the next credit product. Another important thing, when I started, I spoke about you need credit to have credit, right? However, given that there are a lot of new to credit consumers who are coming in, I think it's important to understand that how do you actually build credit if you've never ever taken a credit product. So, if you've never borrowed in past, like I said, score ranges from 300 to 900. If you've never borrowed in past or do not even have a credit card, there will be no records of you with us at CIBIL. This generally comes as NH and no history, basically saying that this individual is not there. But there are definitely ways, even if you have no kind of history, there are ways in which you can start building your credit profile. So the first one being apply for a secured card. So a lot of financial institutions do provide secured credit products to individuals who do not have a CIBIL score. These secured products are credit cards against fixed deposit. So take a secured card, show your regular, pay back regularly, use that card, pay back regularly. In the next 3 to 6 months, you will see a score getting built. Consumer loans, again, a lot of entities, like if you go to a consumer durable store, you could buy it's a kind of a secured loan, right? So a secured loan without any kind of credit history, institutions do give that. Take a mobile phone or any other consumer durable on installments, your profile will start building up. Apply for a low limit credit card. So generally, a lot of banks and financial institutions, they offer a credit card against salary accounts. So if you have a salary account with any kind of bank, you could apply for a low limit credit card. Use that card. So very important that if you have a credit card, you need to use it. Keeping a card itself will not impact your CIBIL score. But the golden rule remains. You're taking credit, make sure you're paying back regularly, paying back on time, not over leveraging yourself to build a good CIBIL score. So there is always a start. Start early, pay regularly, and make sure you're taking benefit of the good CIBIL score that you have and would have maintained over a period of time. I think it's very important to understand, we get a lot of questions around, I have checked my CIBIL score. If there's some kind of information which I do not agree with, what can you really do? So if there's any kind of dispute that you have or any kind of information that you have, there's certain things that you need to consider before raising a dispute. Like I said, the first one being you need to check your CIBIL report carefully. So if you really look from an information that is available in a CIBIL report, it has historic information as well, right? Since the time you've started. So if you're looking at your report, make sure that you are carefully checking it, because you might not remember some old address which is there and you might dispute it, but it was yours, right? So while you might not have the recent address, but a report will have all the old addresses, all the old personal details as well. So disputing that information will not remove it, because the banks submit the data to us, and there's nothing wrong in having older information. Stay updated with your credit transactions. A lot of times, so if you see an inquiry which you think does not belong to you, just reflect back. It could be a pay later option that you've taken with any of the e-commerce companies, and that inquiry actually gets reported as against a member name. So there's nothing wrong with it. Remember your transactions when you're applying for any kind of credit product. So it could also be you've applied for a credit card at an airport, right? In your mind, you've just filled a form, but you've actually applied. So the bank you've applied with will actually make an inquiry for a credit card with CIBIL. So remember and stay updated with all your transactions. Another important thing to note is, does dispute impact your credit profile? Raising a dispute will not change any kind of information, right? It will not have an impact on your credit profile. So whenever you raise any kind of queries or disputes with us, we go back to the financial institutions to check, and if there are any changes, those changes will get reflected in your credit report, and it will take time for you to continue building scores. So it's just not just that when you just applied or raised a dispute, anything would change. Regular reviews and monitoring becomes very important, whether it's your own credit profile, whether it's the loan that you've guaranteed or the joint account that you hold. So I think while you can dispute any kind of information at any point in time, monitoring actually helps you build the right kind of credit behavior. Also, there are scenarios where you could have made a payment to a bank, and you might come and check your score and it does not report, and it does not get reflected. Do note that banks report that information to us on a monthly basis. So while you've made a payment, it will get reported in another cycle. So you need to continue monitoring to see the data is updated and how quickly can it get resolved. Like I said, in the beginning, that for us, we believe in a consumer first approach. I think it's not just about making you aware of what goes behind a CIBIL score and report, how do you help it? But of course, for us, we do help in addressing any kind of queries that you may have. So if you checked your credit report, and we'll talk about it, if you see any kind of challenges there, you can go to our website, www.cibil.com, log into your account. When you log into the account, we actually create a portal for you, wherein you get all the information around credit report, education, any kind of information that you may need. Within that, there's a dispute section, and if you see any kind of information, do keep in mind the points that I spoke about. You can raise a dispute there, and we will help resolve that. Let's talk about, we've spoken about CIBIL score report, what goes into it, how can you help build, what do you do if there's an issue? But I think there's some top myths that I really want to address, and I think these are the questions that we keep getting. Checking your score regularly will negatively impact it. So I just spoke about inquiry as a section, right? Inquiry, let me just talk about it again. When a bank applies for a credit, when you apply to a bank for a credit product, or you've applied for a loan, that gets reported to CIBIL, and that's considered as an inquiry. However, when you as an individual are taking a charge of your credit profile and you check it regularly, it's a soft inquiry, does not get added to the report and does not impact the CIBIL score at all. So I think this is a common misconception. Nothing it does not impact if you check your own CIBIL score on a regular basis. In fact, we encourage consumers to monitor the score on a regular basis. It's not just a set it, forget it approach. You need to take charge. You need to make sure you're monitoring it on a regular basis so that you are ready for the loan that you deserve when you need it in future. Another myth, CIBIL can change consumer data. Like I spoke about, all the information is submitted to us by banks and financial institutions. We cannot make any kind of changes. While we enable the platform, or while we've made a platform available for consumers to reach out to us, so any change that needs to be made, if there's a dispute, that is made by the bank. We reach out to the financial institutions, they give a confirmation, and that's when the data is updated. CIBIL score is based on financial portfolio. I explained in detail, it's not based on savings account, demat account, investment portfolio. It's just the credit facilities that you're taking and how you're performing on those. Last one, CIBIL has rejected my loan application. No, we do not reject any loan applications. Loan approvals and the loan approval policies lies at the discretion of lenders. We do help lenders with the right kind of information. So CIBIL score is definitely one of the most important factors in an underwriting process. So what we give to consumers, what we give to financial institutions is a very, very objective view, what are the kind of loans you've taken, how you're performing. So clearly banks use this information to sanction the right kind of loan to individuals and businesses. Very important, how can you access your CIBIL score and report? The time to start is now. So we do have a free annual credit report available on our site, www.cibil.com. You get a full free CIBIL report along with score. I think that's a good part to start early. Do visit the website. It's a seamless journey. What you will need to do is, given your information uh, in terms of name, mobile number, identifier, we then authenticate you, because it's important that the report is being delivered to the right person. Post authentication, we create a dashboard for you. It's your personalized dashboard, which has all the information that I just spoke about. uh, Once you go through it, you can, there are a lot of credit education facilities that are available. uh, like I said, this free report is available to you once every year. However, it's very, very important to understand that checking once is not enough. You need to monitor on a regular basis. We have on CIBIL.com made tools available for you to understand more about your CIBIL score, understand more about your CIBIL report, tools to make you understand how can you improve your credit profile. So tools like Simulator, which actually tell you that any action that you take, how will that impact your future CIBIL score. Likewise, I think there are tools to help you take charge of any kind of changes that come in your reports. So clearly, it's very, very important for individuals and businesses to take control of their credit, check on a regular basis. Like, I think, I would like to end saying that building a good CIBIL score is in your hands. Nobody else can do it for you. Having the right kind of financial discipline is very important. Also, it's very important to understand that it's not just the first loan that you take that CIBIL score is important for. It is for all the good things in life, your aspirations, ambitions, your future of the next product, the next dream, your dream house. Everything is important. A CIBIL score actually helps you showcase that you are worthy. Uh, Take control of your future, take control of your financial future, make sure you're paying back on time. It's easy. Diligence is the most important thing. So I think awareness is very, very important. Time to start is now. So log on to CIBIL.com, check your free credit report and CIBIL score, and start the journey for a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata. Indeed, that's the right way to put it across. Build your score, build your future, and do it right now. I think the last 45 minutes has given you clear reflection in terms of where you stand in understanding the financial goals that you have and what you need to do in coming future. I think, Sujata, you played a big role in answering majority of the questions or doubts that people have in their mind. So thank you indeed for that. But we also have some bunch of questions that's coming in, and if you are willing to take a couple of them, I'll be happy to put it across.
Sure, happy to do that.
Okay, so this one question coming from Taukir Jamadar, who's asking you a question: will my score be impacted if the check I have issued gets bounced?
Yeah. So it's important to understand that what is this check for. So if it's a regular payment check to another individual which gets bounced, it would not impact your CIBIL score. Like I mentioned, it doesn't take into account. However, if this was for an installment for a loan or a credit card outstanding and it delays your payment, your CIBIL score will get impacted.
Right. That's the answer that I'm sure you got. The next question is coming in. What is the difference between the Experian credit score and the CIBIL score? A very interesting question this is.
Yeah, sure. So it's very important to understand, like I said, we are the oldest credit bureau. There are other credit bureaus in the country. So Experian is another credit bureau. They have their own scoring algorithm, which is the Experian credit score. I think that's the difference. A different credit bureau, what they do is they generate their own credit score. CIBIL score is based on all the information that gets reported to CIBIL. Majority of the banks and financial institutions use CIBIL for underwriting. Yeah, that's the difference between the two.
Right. Before I take the next question from the Q&A, I have this one question I want to ask you, Sujata. What if there's an error from the bank side? Then how does an individual correct the CIBIL score?
Yes. So like I said, Mithun, the way to look at this is once you've checked your credit profile, you've checked your CIBIL report, if there's any kind of error, you can raise a dispute with us saying that, this information is wrong or it does not belong to me. We then connect with the bank saying that the consumer has raised a dispute. And if there's any error from the bank's side, they will reverse that entire decision and the CIBIL report will get updated back to us and all the changes will be made. So we actually enable and we create a platform to help consumers to reach out to bank in case of any discrepancies that they see.
Right. And what is the process time, Sujata, in order to get this done for individuals from the bank?
Yes. So the average, the time to clear a dispute, like I said, we all regulated entities, it's about 30 days. Depending on the information that you raise with us and we go back to the banks, it takes about 30 days for the entire dispute cycle to
That's about
get
30
completed.
working days to
30.
get your CIBIL score back on track.
That's right.
I know there's so many questions coming in, but I just want to ask this question. The current scenario, with so many apps that's coming in, providing you different kind of loans, providing you different financial support, how is CIBIL tracking all of this? With every month, there's a new company launching to give you a better offer to the consumer, and keeping a track and tap on these new industry coming in, new companies coming in, and of course, a track of the consumer. How is that battle between the time and the new companies coming in is going on with CIBIL?
So, Mithun, I think the way to look at this is, we do have a lot of new fintechs, NBFCs that they are coming. So, they're all regulated entities governed by the SICRA Act that we say. They are mandated to submit data on a regular basis to us. Every time there's a loan sanction, if you go to a app, which is basically an NBFC who has a front end app, they are mandated to submit information to us. We do a lot of activities at TransUnion CIBIL for us in educating the banks and financial institutions, in educating the fintechs to submit data on a regular basis, making sure it's clear. We really handhold all these entities to make sure that the consumer benefits from the information which is there. True. While all of this happens, I think a big piece for us is educating the end consumer. And I think this is a wonderful step, one of the many that we will be taking as well. Educating the consumer to make sure that they are monitoring their profile on a regular basis, to keep a tab on their profile, making sure there's no kind of wrong information that is available. So for us, I think both sides of the house, we do a lot of education and I would say activities with the financial institutions, likewise for the consumers as well.
Right. Thank you, Sujata. I think that does answer a very big question in the current scenario of what we're going through right now. Okay, so my next question is coming from Himakshi Singh. She's got a very long question. I'm going to read this out very slowly. I'm having a very sound savings account, bank account, but it is primarily a deposit account for me and not for withdrawal or making payments. What will be the impact on my credit score?
Yeah. So Himakshi, this will not impact your credit score. It will not help you build a credit score as well. I think it's very important to understand that you might have a very, very sound savings bank account, but it will not help you build a credit score. A credit score is built basis the credit products that you take and how frequently are you paying back. So if you've not been using credit at all, I'd encourage you to start leveraging these financial tools which are available, because they'll actually help you build a higher CIBIL score and a good profile so that you can take the benefit of it when you need another product or any, say, a big home loan that you want to take in future. It's important to have a good credit score and a good credit profile.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sujata. I think we'll take the last two questions. And this question is coming in from Irfan Khan. I had taken a loan and could not pay 2-3 installments for some personal reasons. Post that, I paid seamlessly. How will my CIBIL score be impacted?
So, Irfan, like I said, if you've missed 2-3 installments, and if you've paid those and you're paying regularly, your CIBIL score will improve over a period of time. There are multiple factors that go into it. I think patience is very, very important and diligence is very important, right? Continue to pay back the future installments of the loan products regularly, and also ensure that you are not overutilizing yourself, and you will see your CIBIL score improve in 6 to 9 months post that.
Right. This is what last one question in the interest of time. This is from Shubham Jain, not Shubham Jain actually, Harshita Dave. With account aggregator coming into a picture, is it a threat to the credit bureau industry?
This is not very relevant to this session per se, but I think what I would like to say is it's actually a very enabling provision. It actually makes access to data very, very easy. And I'm sure all the institutions will work closely in this entire account aggregator ecosystem to ensure that the consumer benefits the most. I think for us, the reason we exist is to help the common man. And I think that's what I would like to end with. It is to enable the end consumer to get faster, cheaper access to credit.
Absolutely. And I think that's the right way to put it across. Its end of it is what matters is what the consumer, the end consumer, is getting a benefit out of it. Thank you, Sujata, for joining us here. Indeed, last one has been very interesting and an eye-opener to most of us in terms of what to look forward in coming future and what is the right way to be secured financially. Thank you for your time here, and I wish you great luck in coming future.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,